Hello and welcome back to Lamp Oil Stock. Today we're going to take a look at lying and teaching. Two subjects that most people don't think go together, but lots of lies take place all the time, and then those lies are just taught.
So this is something that means, it's one of those things that I'm really into. The lying part, because I just can't stand to be lied to. And I don't like to lie because, I say that the Bible is an action book, and your actions are dictated by what you believe. So if I believe a whole bunch of lies, I'm going to act one way, versus if I believe a whole bunch of truth, I'm going to act a different way. And so I've been, kind of combing the internet, and I've also seen people talking about school and homeschooling, especially when it comes to Hebrew Israelites, because of kids being hurt in school for one reason or another. And so that's what brought this topic up for me. And I want to start by talking about the devil, or Satan, or the serpent. In Revelations 12 verse 9, it says,
Yeah, I'll read it.
Okay.
And the great serpent was casted out.
Dragon.
Oh, sorry. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast unto the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Okay, so right now it's talking about Satan, and it says that he deceives the whole world. Then if we go to Genesis 3.
I got that one too.
Okay.
And now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree in the garden?
Okay, so here we got Satan again, and right now it's saying that he's subtle, sneaky, and he's getting ready to lie and deceive Eve in the Garden of Eden. And then if we go over to John 8 and 44.
John 8 and 44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lusts of your father ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it.
So these are traits of Satan, or the devil. It says that he is a liar, he is a murderer, and that his children are also liars and murderers, right? Because if they are of their father and they do what he wants, then they are the same. And then we say that all of our knowledge that we have today comes from those people. When we pick up a book, they printed it, they sent it to you, and they've gone through it and changed, reworked, in order to make it say whatever it is they want to say.
Wait a minute, what books are you talking about? Are you talking about like school books? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm talking about any type of book of learning. Because if you're talking about school books, if you're talking about health books, it doesn't matter. All of our information that we have today comes from them. And it says that they are liars. So how can we believe the information that we're taking in? So in Hosea 4 verse 6, it talks about his people, or God's people, being destroyed because of a lack of knowledge.
Hold on, let me read it. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. See that thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, and I will forgot, and I also, wow, man, I cannot read today, and I will also forgot thy children.
Forget thy children. So
when this is talking about knowledge, this is not talking about 1 + 1 = 2.
no.
You're right. When it's talking about knowledge, it's talking about, and I think this is something that needs to be brought up. It is talking about knowledge of the Lord, knowledge of the Most High. And earlier, just a moment ago, you're talking about books. You're not talking about the Bible. You're talking about just any other book that happens to be out there.
Well, I'm talking about the Bible if we're not doing line upon line, precept upon precept, or if we're not taking in the verse into context, because people will grab verses to make anything they want to say seem believable. You see what I'm saying? Because gay people grab the Bible and say, look here, look at this verse. It's okay to be gay. So it's not just the words themselves, it's also how those words are used. So if you're learning from somebody who is ungodly, then all you're going to learn is ungodliness.
Okay, so, and the reason I'm questioning on this, I'm trying to be the stand-in for everybody. The reason I'm questioning on this is you've got to, when we're talking about knowledge and we're talking about learning, we're talking about two different schools of thought here. We have knowledge of the Most High. That is something you're supposed to be focused on. And then we have knowledge of the world, which doesn't matter. I mean, knowledge of the world is, there is knowledge in the world, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things at all.
Yes, but today we are taught in school and by actions and TV shows and commercials and everywhere you look, we're taught that the world is all that matters. I have to do all of these things because this is what the world expects. I can't do these things because this is what the world expects. So the Bible is not talking about worldly matters, but the world is only focused on worldly matters.
Right.
Okay. So if we go to Isaiah 59:13 through, I think, 15, it says, in transgressing and lying against the Lord, and departing away from our God, seeking oppression and revolt, conceiving and uttering from the heart words of falsehood, and judgment is turned away backwards, and justice standeth afar off. For truth is fallen in the street, and equity cannot enter. Yea, truth faileth, and he that departeth from evil maketh himself a prey. And the Lord saw it, and it displeased him that there was no judgment. So this verse is talking about how the world is just filled with people who are lying, and that they have gone away from the truth of the Most High. And so there, what we consider to be justice or judgment has kind of gone away, and in its place we have a world in confusion and chaos, because there is no justice in the land, and there is really no truth. And anybody who tries to find the truth and live in the truth are going to make themselves into someone that is hunted, or it says maketh himself a prey. People are going to attack you or come after you if you try to live a righteous, just life. And the Most High sees it, and it displeases him, because there is no judgment in the land. There is no truth here, and everything is based off lies. So I'm saying that because I want to get back to how it is important not to lie. and to try to find and figure out what the truth is. Right now, we're living in a time where there is no truth, or the truth is however whatever the people in charge feel is right. And if you try to go against that, then life is going to be hard on you. But that is the righteous way. It's not okay to just follow along and teach and do whatever it is that the world is doing. The Most High tells you that.
Yeah, it does. And that starts off in Proverbs. If we go over to Proverbs 4.
Okay, it says, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. And yet we're constantly teaching our children the things in the world and then expecting them to act differently than they do. Or we don't understand why they act the way they do when we're teaching them nothing but lies. And I say that because as a parent, I decided, because of some events that had gone on, that I was going to take my kids out of school. I didn't like what was going on there. It wasn't what they were being taught, it was the way they were being taught that I didn't like. So I pull all of my children out and I say, you know what, I'm going to homeschool. And I start to think, okay, so what did I learn in school? So I want to talk about, George Washington being the first president. We're going to go through the presidents. And then I find out, well, George Washington wasn't actually the first president.
Have you ever Googled that? Have you Googled that? So if you Google the first president, you'll get George Washington. It pops up. That's what you get. But if you read the article, if you read the first thing Google says, is many people have argued that John Hanson, not George Washington, was the first president of the United States. That's the very first thing you'll get is John Hanson. You can argue that John Hanson was the first president.
Well, I had looked it up, and there were several presidents before George Washington, and I don't remember now because I just don't care. After I found out that they were lying to me, I decided, okay, well, I'm not teaching them this, and I don't care. So I've moved on, but I did that with a lot of different subjects. Okay, this is what I was taught in school. Let's look at it. And every time I would hit this wall of they're lying or what I was taught was a lie. And then I think, well, why am I going to teach my children lies? How does that help them? Will it help them pass a test? Yes. But then their decisions and the way they live their life is going to be based off of those lies. And is that really what I want? Now, there is people who are, especially today, they are offended by the word. If you tell people that it's not okay to be gay, or it's not okay to have sex with multiple partners, or if it's not okay to go to church on Sunday as your Sabbath, then a lot of people get offended. But if we look at James 3:2,
for many things we offend all. If any man offended not in the word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body.
So in James chapter 3 verse 2, it says that for in many things we offend all. So as people who believe in the Most High, there's a lot of things that we will say that is going to offend someone else, and that's okay, because it says that the only way that you can use your words that you would have to be perfect, a perfect person, in order to be able to speak and not offend somebody. And you would also be able to control your whole body. So it's basically saying it's impossible for you to be a follower in the Most High and not offend somebody, because no one can, as it says, bridle their whole body. You can't decide, you know what, I'm not going to cough today. Trust me, I cough a lot when I make these videos, and I be trying not to. So I shouldn't have spoken it. So it's saying that there's no way that you can be a follower of the Most High and not offend somebody. So I'm okay with offending people. And Timothy, 2 Timothy 3, you should really read the whole chapter, but we're going to go to verse 7. It says that people are ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. So you can go out and you can read every textbook you want to, every newspaper that's out there, every, if you look at my kids, their little comic book things, you can read whatever you want to, and you can learn all types of junk and trash. But the truth is something that you're not going to be able to come up with if you have all that other garbage in your brain and in your system. For example, the Most High says that He heals and that He kills and that He gives life, but we learn about germs and diseases and all these other things, and going to the doctors and taking pills and taking medications. So how does that get me to the knowledge of the Most High? The Most High says that the earth is still, it does not move, and yet we learn in science that the earth rotates around the sun or something. And I would think if those people were intelligent and they'd really gone to outer space, they should at least know that much, that the earth is not moving. And if they don't, why am I listening to anything they say? So people are constantly learning stuff. But the question is, what are you learning? I had spoken to my aunt, who is a professor at a college, and she was always asking me, well, what are you teaching your children? What are you learning? And I told her that in the beginning, in Genesis, there was this very simple story. And that story said that there was this tree that had knowledge of good and knowledge of evil. And Eve took a bite. So that's saying that there's good knowledge and there's evil knowledge. Now, which one are you learning? And more importantly, which one are you teaching? Are you teaching the good knowledge or the worldly knowledge?
If you read Colossians 2 and 8, and of course this whole verse is very good, but read this one for me real quick.
So it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
See, that verse spells it out for me. You can create a philosophy around anything. When we're talking about medicine or doctors, it's not just about getting the person well. They have created a philosophy that involves drugs and when to go to the doctor. Now they've gotten it to the point where people cough, they go to the doctor, and we've got to do this. It doesn't matter what my head's a little hot today, I need to go to the doctor and get a drug and deal with this. Hey, my back hurts a little bit today, what pill do I need to be taking? That is a philosophy that informs every decision that people make from that point.
It's not, even with that, I was trying to teach my children about, the Constitution at one point, and the governments, and the way that they're set up according to what we're taught, and the way that they actually work, and the way they're really, the things that are going on right now is not the same. Now, they may have had some idea, but what's going on today is not what they are teaching people. We are actually, if you looked at our government, we are actually in a state of anarchy. If you look and read what they say these different government types are, but that's not what they tell you, and that's not what they teach. But just a little understanding of what these words mean will show you something different. But if my kids were to take a test on government types and they said that the United States was in anarchy, they would get that wrong. So you have to, you can't just be caught up in these vain thoughts or people's wishes, dreams, and hopes. And in Romans 12 and 2, Romans 12 verse 2, it says, "Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." So a lot of people are just want to conform to this world. I'm going to do this. I'm going to believe this. I'm going to teach this because it's going to make my life easier. And because that's what everybody else is doing. But the Bible tells us clearly not to do that. We are supposed to be separate, set apart, holy. But we don't teach that to our kids because we know how hard it is, how hard it's going to be for them as well as us if we do that. The Bible also says that the devil will throw some of you in jail. And what I can't understand is, who is the devil throwing in jail if we are all conforming to this world and teaching what it is he wants to be taught, especially to our children?
So it's got to be taught. Things that need to be taught are completely different than what the world says should be taught. If we go over to Titus 2 and 1, it gives you literally a course list of what ought to be taught. So if we start there, but speaketh the things which become sound doctrine. This is what needs to be taught. That aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, and patience. That aged women likewise, that they be in behavior becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given too much of wine, teaching good things. See, this is literally a course list of what should be taught to younger people, older people. It outlines exactly what should be going on.
And if you go to Ecclesiastes 12, verses 9 through 12, it tells you what a good teacher is. It says, "And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words. That which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as goads, and as nails fastened by the masters of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further by these, my son, be admonished, of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh." So it tells you that a good teacher is someone that the Most High has inspired to teach the truth and to teach his words, and that studying all these different books out here just makes you tired, but it doesn't help you.
Right. There's so many books on so many different subjects that there is no end. Just as it says, there is no end to books that are out there. But it just makes you tired. Reading all that stuff was just going to make you weary, literally. But what other things that ought to be taught are things of the Most High, like Isaiah 54. All right. In Isaiah 54 and 13, and all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. This is the point of the Most High, is to bring you peace and to make you into a better person, not just one who knows of everything that's going on.
If you go to Ephesians 6 and 4, it tells you, "And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord." So, go ahead.
Oh, anyway, let's go over to Proverbs. That's another great one for me. Proverbs 2. and
6.
2 and 6. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding.
So it tells you that the Most High is the one who gives wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It tells you that the other nations don't know anything, but we are still constantly going to the other nations for all of our wisdom. And I know that Hebrew Israelites want to tout, well, you can't go to them to learn about God, but all knowledge should lead you to God. So you can't go to them to learn about anything because they have no good knowledge. They only have that is evil. And Deuteronomy 11 verse 19 says, and ye shall teach them your children, speaking of them when thou sittest in thy house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. So the Most High tells you that you're supposed to be teaching your children about him all day, every day. When does that school that you are sending your children have to do with that? What does that online school, because you don't want them to be arrested if you send them to the regular school, have to do with that? When they're teaching them things that go against your belief and go against your God. And then you expect them to believe in your God when you've told them that these people are smarter than you, that they know more than you. How does that work? What is it they say? That's contradiction. It makes no sense.
Oh, I hate that verse. That's very funny. Anyway,
so
go ahead.
To finish this up, I wanted to go to John chapter 8 verse 32.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So it says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So the truth is what makes you free. It's not the lies. The lies keep you in bondage, and it's every lie, not just some lies. It keeps you in bondage. It keeps you upset. It keeps you running and chasing after the wrong things. When our job here is to get to the kingdom. And the only way to get to the kingdom is to disperse the lies and find out what the truth is, because there is no lie in the Most High. All lies come from Satan. So every lie you tell, no matter what it is taking you closer to Satan. Every lie that you allow your children to be taught is taking them closer to Satan.
Hey, this has been Lamp Oil Stock. We try to get you to take a moment and think about how your belief in the Most High affects your life all the way around. In this video, we're talking about your children and what you're teaching impacts your children, but in all things, your belief in the Most High should be your guiding light and what guides you forward. If you like this video, let us know. Leave us a comment or a thumbs up or down. Tell us how you thought. We love hearing your guys' comments. You can find us on Black Junction, on YouTube, and other different places. So, hey, thank you so very much.
Bye.